today we're going to be doing RightStart Mathematics Level H lesson, and we're going to be doing lesson 10, which is the first lesson after the reviews. So this is written to the child, and we're going to go over the objectives: to learn the term tessellation, to understand what a tessellation is, to review the term regular polygon. This is a term that was listed in a previous lesson. All the terms that are italicized will need to be added to the dictionary. We'll go over that in just a moment. To complete a portion of the Pentagon tiling, type 13, and to find the angles around a vortex. So these are all to learn, understand, review, complete the worksheet, or complete a portion of a certain thing, and to find angles. So note in here that there's never an objective to master. So if there is a challenge, a lot of times we will look at it from different ways, or we're just kind of exploring it. So a lot of parents get confused and concerned about their child not mastering something in a specific lesson, but it takes a long time of exploring in order for kids to really master it in the sense of understand it, okay? Not just be able to regurgitate it back out in an instant. Our goal is for understanding. So there's materials that are listed, and there's a math dictionary. So every item that's listed in the objectives as a italicized word is in the math dictionary. Let me get this straightened up for you guys a little bit. There we go. Now we have, you're going to be putting these words in the dictionary, and in the solutions, it is listed in the solutions for the parents to be able to know what words to expect. And please encourage having your child put in a diagram whenever possible into the dictionary. We are going to be doing worksheets 10.1 and 10.2 today. This is the name of the worksheet, Introduction to Tessellations. We're going to be needing a drawing board, which is right here, and a T-square, which is our T-square, and a 30-60 triangle. So our drawing tools are usually listed in one item. And then also we need a goniometer, which is this, helps measure angles, and our Casio calculator. You can use a different scientific calculator. We do recommend, though, not using your phone, because the phones actually don't work in the same order of operations that a scientific calculator does. The lesson is laid out to the student. Now, many students get in the bad habit of skipping to the bottom where it says worksheets and then jumping right to the worksheets. The students need to read the lesson. It gives information about some background information about what a tessellation is, what they can expect, and also it gives information, a lot of times some hints on how to figure out the worksheet. It does not teach them how to specifically do the worksheet step by step, as you might be finding, but it gives them background information that could be very valuable. Additional to that, there's pictures that relate back to what they're learning on their worksheet in order to be successful. Okay, so this is Pentagon tiling type 13. In this instance, this is what they're going to be creating on worksheet 10.1. In order to properly get your worksheet on the paper, it is vital for some of these worksheets that they be square. And if we look at this worksheet is not square. So I'm looking at one of these horizontal lines right here. Get that lined up for you. And if I have my T-square, I'm pushing here to make sure it's flat. My worksheet is not square. This will create a very bad design in the end. So I'm going to pick up one of these pieces of tape. I had it square, and then playing around with getting my lesson ready, one of the pieces of tape kind of got messed up. So I'm gonna just remove one corner because it's not that far off and I'm going to line it up here. I'm going to hold it in the middle and press out to the corner where I'm going to press down. Can you get that in there? My piece of tape. Now, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit for you guys. While still holding this, I'm going to actually just adjust this one too and make sure that both of them aren't crooked, because if there's an angled pressure on them, they will kind of fight you a little bit. Okay, so we have a couple of the pentagons already created. There's 4 of them already created to create this tessellation. Okay, and now it says to use the 30-60 triangle on this, but that is it. So we're going to look at this and see what our next tessellation is. We have this line all the way down right here, and that line is right here. And that line is necessary in order to be able to do this. So we've given you the lines that you need in order to be able to create the tessellation, but that's all we've given you, because it's going to take some figuring out. We have between these 2 lines here and here, I'll use my pencil to kind of explain it. This line and this line are this one and this one here and here. And can you see that? Bring that down a bit for you. This one right there, I'm going to just darken it a bit, is this one here, from here to here. This one here, this little line or this long line, either way you look at it, is this line, get the right on the camera, from here to here. So for this pentagon, we actually just need to connect from this point, which is right here, to this point. Now we're going to use our triangle. We don't just want to set up it's not about this. It's putting a triangle on here and just connecting it. So we want to actually use the T-square and find the correct angle on the triangle. One of the best ways to do that is to get your T-square set nice and flat against the side of the board, and then set it up on the line up here that you were trying to mimic. And oh, there you go, I found it already. This is how you want your T-square and your triangle set up. We're going to slide this down below the line. This is where it's going to start and end. Here and here, we want the T-square below that. And we're going to bring in our triangle, and the T-square is not going to move. What I like to do is put my pencil right here on that point, bring the T-square in until it touches, and then I'm going to pull a line to the end. Now we want a line on the other side too. If you flip this over, you can see over here, looking up here, this is the correct angle by just flipping our triangle over, because they're mirror images of each other. So I'm going to just keep my T-square exactly where it is. I have not moved it. I'm going to put my pencil right here on the end of that line, bring in my T-square. Now I don't know how long technically I need to make my line. I'm going to make it at least this long, probably a little bit longer here. Now there's 2 ways to make this line. I can either match it up, that's not there, with, nope, that's not it. I'm trying to figure out how to get this line right here with my T-square. Oh, I think I found it. It's right here. So you see how I'm just using that, I'm going to bring my thing down so you can see better. I am using the diagram to get the right angles. Now that I've got the right angle and the right setup with my T-square, I'm going to bring my T-square down below this line, or actually it just needs to be below here, but I have a problem though. I don't know where to start on that line. So I do need this. So I'm gonna put my pencil here. I need to know, because they're straight across from each other, all these points here and here and here are all straight across from each other. So I'm going to make a tick mark, which is a little tiny mark just used for measuring right here. I made that darker. Most of the time when I do this on my own, I make it really light. And it does say in the lessons to leave tick marks so that you can, as a parent, can see how they did it and that they are correctly creating this. So leave your tick marks, encourage them. But these extra lines, if your pencil has a decent eraser on the back of it, you can use that. And then always have available one of these marvelous erasers, the polymer erasers. These are great for lots of erasing. So now we have our first pentagon. Now I'm going to show you how to do another one here. And I'm just going to go through this quickly. You can watch my process here. There we go. I literally just keep flipping the thing around until I get the angle that I want. Pencil down, move over the triangle, draw the line. I'm gonna flip it over because I know the mirror images of each other. Draw the line. Now that was way too long. Put my pencil on, get my T-square. I'm always pushing the T-square over from the side. Draw a tick mark. Figure out my angle, which is that one. Excuse me. And I'm gonna go, it's a short line. It does not go all the way to this line. So we're gonna need to know how long that is gonna be. I think that's long enough. I'm gonna flip it around again. Put it on the line and then move the triangle over. So just to show you, I have two fingers holding my T-square and I am pulling it to the right. Now I'm using these fingers to kind of adjust where my triangle is going to go. Holding all of this. This takes practice, okay? And it is possible. We're going to draw another line. Now, this is going to go from here to here. From the end of this line, right here, to the end of that line. And that's going to give me where this line stops. And I'm going to need to erase something. I think that's it. Yep, it hits it. It's that one. You can double check it if you want to slide your T-square up, but I've got my T-square all set. So I'm going to put it right at the end, move my triangle over, and bring it down. That end of that line I will erase in just a moment. Now this one is going to just go to the end here, just to this end. Again, I'm checking my T-square as I'm doing this, pulling my triangle over and ending it there. Now we're going to erase. I'm going to use my big eraser for this line that I way overshot. Neaten it up. We want to teach your students to make their drawings neat. A tick mark should be light enough and to not draw to it. Okay? So now we're going to keep working our way through our tessellation in order to create this. But there are some shortcuts that your student will hopefully figure out. There are some lines that run through the whole unit, and it's easier to look at it from here. So we've done these horizontal lines and some of the vertical lines, but if you look, there's a pattern to all math, including this. So there's ways to be able to use a certain angle and do multiple points.
Okay. Okay, so as we are gonna speed this up for you so we can get this done a little bit quicker, I'm gonna just let you know of a few things to keep in mind. Try to work your T-square down the page as much as possible. This will help pull against the tape at the top and prevent your paper from getting all cattywampus and stuck up against and wrinkled up against the tape. So I'm kind of figuring out where we need to go and then moving my T-square to the top of the page and then pulling down. Here I've marked the different columns so that I can kind of keep the little picture straight with the big picture. I numbered them so that I can kind of keep things straight, because for a while it's a little bit confusing with all the lines. As you start going, it starts to clear up, but numbering or somehow identifying each one of these lines and how they relate really helps. I'm using that little figure throughout the entire process to make sure that I'm lining everything up and understand the angle and what line translates to the big picture each time. If you'd like, you can skip ahead to the 22-minute mark, where it's the end of this drawing and the beginning of the second worksheet, 10-2. Okay, so here I have finished the drawing. I'm just doing any final eraser marks, and we will move on to the second worksheet, 10-2.
All right, now we're going to be doing worksheet 10-2, and this worksheet refers to the one that we just drew, which is over here. Okay, so we are going to look at these figures. Now, your questions at the top regarding symmetry, reflection, rotational, vertical symmetry. If you do not know what that is, then you can go back to review lesson 7, and it has all of these definitions in here. As you go through and do your reviews, I would recommend you taking these words that are in italics and put them into your math dictionary along with diagrams. I am not going to go through each of them today, but this lesson gives very good explicit detail as to what each one of these rotations are. So please use that lesson. If you haven't ever gone through RightStart before and you've never heard those terms, please stop and tomorrow go back to the review lessons and make sure you get caught up. If it's just a review and it's something that you need to look back on, we will be reviewing lesson 7, many times through the whole curriculum. So that's going to be an important one that you're going to need to learn. So your diagrams that you are looking and your polygon, I want to make sure that you really understand that part. Your polygon is this pentagon, this little one that's in bold right here. And I've shaded it darker here. I will do it again. This is your pentagon. Now, this bigger one is not a pentagon. It's got 7 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You need to remember what a pentagon has. A pentagon has 5 sides. It does not need to look like a regular pentagon, which has equal sides and equal angles. This one is irregular. So the questions that it's asking is in regards to this shape right here. Okay, so don't let that confuse you. And you're going to answer all these questions as you go. So a lot of kids miss the connection between questions 12 through 14 and what they drew. So this vertice refers to one of these. So if you look, it's just, we pick a point and we just draw little vertices off of it. And you can instantly see the connection. Now you're going to finish writing in these angles and then add them together. They should all be the same sum around each vertex. This vertice is here. Now, where is this vertice? Do you see it? There's one right here. These 3 are equal angles and these 3 are not. Now, these are drawing 2 vertices of your own design. Kind of think of it like this, where you're going to find a point and you're going to have different angles coming off of it. Now, you're going to measure the angles with your goniometer. And here is your goniometer. I had to go steal this from my children because they absolutely love this thing and they use it for all of their upper level math. And I had to go searching for one. So literally just kind of take a vertice and draw whatever angles you want coming out of it. It's kind of fun to do some interesting ones. Okay, so here's a vertice right here. Now to do your angles and to measure it, you have, if you've never used one of these, I'm going to zoom in so that we can see this better. Okay, there is a bubble right here with the red line in it. And then here is your vertex. It's very important to get the vertex and your bottom of your goniometer lined up as perfectly as you can. And then there's these little grooves here. Put your hand right on those grooves and hold it into place. Then you're gonna open this up to match that other line. And then you're going to read your measurement. And I'm gonna pick it up and read it because you guys might be able to see it, but it looks like it's 70 degrees. Hey, look at that. So it's important to get the vertex and that bottom line perfect before you measure, okay? And then you're gonna go through and you're gonna finish answering the rest of that worksheet.